Hello and welcome to the Yo Yarn Girl podcast. My name is Lisa and I'm coming to you from the Denver, Colorado area. And today is Saturday, November 5th. This is a podcast all about my knitting journey and just anything else that I decide to talk about during my podcast. For any of you that are returning, thank you and welcome back. And for anyone new that's stopping by, welcome. I'm glad that you found me. So today I am going to primarily kind of talk about just what I'm going to be knitting for the holiday Christmas season as gifts for family member and friends. And I have a large list of gifts that I want to make. Whether or not I get to all of the gifts, we will see. But the plan is to do some holiday knitting. So I already have actually finished one gift knit and I'm working on several others. Most of my gift knits are going to be hats and socks, and I'm going to share that list with you today in case you also would like to get up to some gift knitting and just aren't sure of where to start. So without further ado, let's get started with my first finished object. And the first finished object that I am going to show you is a hat that I've knit for a great niece. I have two great nieces and two great nephews, and I am going to make them hats. All of them will have this. I'm using the same pattern for all of their hats. However, I'm going to use different colors. So I am going to share this first completed hat that I have because it is my one and only finished object for today. However, I may black this out. I'm not sure if I'm going to or not because my family does tend to watch my podcasts. And even though this is for one of the babies and they don't watch my podcast probably, I would like it to be a little bit of a surprise. So I am going to show you the hat. And I'm sorry I'm covering my face, but it's just a really simple pattern. It uses a bulky weight yarn, and I'm using a Cascade 220, Cascade 220, and then an Ella Ray chunky weight yarn for this pattern. And I really, really love the way this came out and super simple. I knit this in probably, I want to say it was done within like 3 or 4 hours. I had this completed. So I have started on the second one. And it's also for my other great niece. And I just simply I changed the color pattern around. So it's same colors, just changed it around. And again, if I've blacked this out, you won't be able to see the colors, but this is the second one. And just barely started here, but we'll probably have this finished for sure by the end of the weekend. I'll have it done. So those are the first two gift knits that I've started on, and the name of this pattern is called Pagadi Hat. And I looked it up because I was just kind of curious that what was that name from, and I kind of recognized it but wasn't too sure. Pagadi is it's referred to as a knitting device or a what do they call there's a word, but also it is a fictional character in the Charles Dickens story. So if you look that up, you will see some references to Charles Dickens. And this designer of this pattern, I believe, is British. So kind of goes hand in hand. But I was curious, so I went and looked that up. So that's the name of this pattern. And as I said, I will be making several hats. I also have a step grandbaby that I will be also making this hat for. So that's that. And my second, it's a half object. This was a test knit that I did for Christy Archer. So if you go check out Christy Archer Designs, she actually just released the pattern for this on Friday. And I was fortunate enough to be one of her test knitters for this. I have already knit a pair of these socks, but I knit the worsted version. So this is part of her Simply Irresistible line, and this is the Simple Irresistible mohair sock now. Beautiful sock. And this is also going to be a gift, so I have a half object done. and love this. I love this sock. So I love the sock pattern. All of them have a little bit of a different, well, the irresistible, worsted, and fingering are the same repeat, but this is a little bit of a different repeat, and it's just a fingering weight and a mohair that you pair together. And I used yarn from my stash. I used a Lolo Did It fingering weight. It's called in Cherry Blossom. And then I used just a complimentary mohair that I had in my stash as well. Both these yarns were from my stash. And I will link the mohair because I don't remember the name, and I've got to find the ball band for it, but I will link that. So this is just, it's a fun knit, and it's super easy. And this would make great gifts. They knit up very, very quickly. And yeah, go check out her pattern, purchase it, and show her some love and support. And then you've got a great pattern for some great gifts, easy gift knitting. So really like this, but this is her Simply Irresistible mohair sock pattern. So there you go. Okay, and so moving right along, I have another gift knit that I have started, and this is a free pattern actually. This is a pattern by it's Yarnspirations and Marley. It's Marley Bird Yarnspirations, and it's called the Road to Success Chic hat. And I think that name came because Marley Bird used to have a yarn of lines, a line of yarn that Yarnspirations carried, called Chic Sheep. I think it's discontinued at this point, but this hat was one that was designed in that yarn. I'm actually using a Cascade 220, I think. Yeah, I'm using Cascade 220 and making this. It's a cabled hat, but it's a free pattern, knits up very, very quickly, and would make great gifts if you just wanted to make some hats. I think I mentioned, but if I didn't, most of my gift knits will be hats and socks. So that's what I'm gifting, and my socks are going to be worsted and DK weight socks, so they will go pretty quickly, with the exception of, well, the mohair ends up being, because you're pairing a mohair and a fingering, it ends up being about a DK weight. So again, all knit up very, very quickly. But this hat is just barely started, and it's a cabled hat. Really like the way it's knitting up so far. And yeah, so again, check that out. It's on Ravelry, or you can go to the Yarnspirations website and download that pattern. And I said it is a free pattern. So I think most of the patterns that I'm going to reference are free patterns, so that's nice. And then, there's always, you can find a budget-friendly yarn, or a lot of these patterns you can go and you can get, a hand-dyed yarn from, a hand dyer, indie dyer, but most of these will have an option of using a more budget-friendly yarn, because again, at the holiday times, there's so many different things that come along, and I'm all about doing holidays on really doing it on a budget. I love gifting. I love the holidays and I love gifting, but it's really more about relationships and spending holiday and family time, and what better way to do that with other than with some hand gifts or handmade gifts, and you're just coming together and all enjoying it. And if you have a craft that you do, I think family members really enjoy that and appreciate, or most appreciate that. So I know a lot of people talk about being knit worthy, and my family members are very knit worthy. Just remind them, if you're using a yarn that's going to be a little bit higher on the price point, and it's probably going to be a 100% wool or a wool blend, you just want to remind them about the laundry instructions. So a lot of, if you go to like Etsy or a couple of the other websites, they have little tags that you can print out, and you can write in the launder instructions, or they even print out like hand wash or special made by me, hand wash this item. So that's also something that you can do when you are making those handmade gifts, hand knits. So, but yeah, love this hat. So go grab that pattern if you want another pretty simple, easy pattern to knit up for a gift. So the next item that I am making, and I don't have, it's just really going to be, I don't have the yarn even yet, I don't think, because I think I ordered the yarn and I haven't. No, I'm using yarn from my stash. I am going to make up a couple of these hats, and it's called the Vanilla Hat. This is also a free pattern on Ravelry. And it's just called the Vanilla Hat, and somebody had this on their podcast, which is how I learned about the pattern. But it's a DK weight hat, and I'm actually going to use yarn from my stash. I have tons of fingering weight yarn that I really would like to get through, so I'm just going to double the fingering weight and make it a DK weight. But it's called the Vanilla Hat. So, and it is a free pattern on Ravelry, so go look for that pattern. And if you have a skein of DK, or you've got some fingering that you want to use, that really nice skein that you just don't know what to do with it, double it and make a hat. So another way to get through some of your stash. So another whip that I have that I'm gonna insert a video, because I tried this on today. Super excited to be finally making some progress, and hopefully the next podcast I will have this off the needles. But it is my After the Rain sweater, and I did show this the last time, and I have made a little bit of progress, not a ton, but a little bit of progress. I think the last time I showed this, sorry, all my ends here because I'm switching colors every 6 rows. I was here, where that marker is, and now I'm down to here. But I am going to pop in a little video that will it's just really a clip that just shows me trying this on. And I used barber cords for the first time in trying on a garment. I was really nervous. So as I got ready, as I was putting this on, and the stitches are kind of spreading out, initially my thought was, oh my gosh, Lisa, you're losing all of your stitches. So I freaked out a little bit, but then I realized that nope, they were just going onto the barber cord, which is exactly what it's for. It was doing its job, and I was able to try it on. Sorry. Probably had some of that mohair in my throat. But anyways, and I'm just drinking a vanilla cinnamon tea, Stash brand. But anyways, I tend to not, I'm rambling and I'm sorry. I tend to not swatch. I know, shame, 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 yo yarn girl. However, normally I'm doing socks or a hat or something of that nature, and even though swatching for socks sometimes I think is important, I typically just knit them up and they fit. I've been very lucky that way, because I have used some yarns that, I had to put out a little bit of money for, and so I would have hated to have knit them up and they didn't fit, especially if it was a yarn that I really liked. But I just am not a swatcher. However, I have started to knit. I've gone down the rabbit hole of garments, and so that being said, I have started to swatch because I think it's important, and I want to make sure that my garments do fit so that I can wear them and show them off. So I am currently knitting that sweater. I'm also working on, and I'm not going to show you this week, is my Felix. I am in doing a knit along with Taylor of the Wool Needle Hands podcast, and so I did swatch for that one, and I got gauge. It was a little bit off, but it wasn't where I was concerned about it. So, but I did swatch for that one. And then I'm also doing a Lace and Fade Boxy. Didn't swatch for that one, but I can already tell I think that's going to be fine. But I have started to do some swatching, and it's probably important if you're going to put out a lot of money on the yarn that you swatch for that garment. So, but anyways, that's coming along really nicely, and I can't wait to get that off the needles and get another one on the needles, because I think that's going to be a repeat on that pattern. So, and then I think as far as, I do have I've made some progress on my socks. I didn't finish these, I don't think, in time, but for the Crazy Sock Ladies, she was doing a stripy cowl for socks, and I think it's over, but I was going to knit these anyway, so it doesn't matter. But this is the second one. The first one is back there, and I showed that on my last podcast, but I did make a little bit of progress on this stripy, scrappy sock. So, really like that. And these are just for me. I'm not making these for anybody in particular, but they are for me. So that's the progress on that. And then I had put over on Instagram and also on my community tab in YouTube, I had purchased a skein of yarn, Dream in Color. It was purple, and absolutely loved the yarn, and asked, should I cast on a hat or should I cast on socks? And I decided to cast on a hat. On my community tab in YouTube, it was a 50-50 for hat or socks. I think on my Instagram, it was pretty unanimous on doing socks. And I'd almost decided that I was definitely going to do socks. And then I was like, you know what? This yarn is so pretty, and it's my favorite color. I want to do something that people can see. So I decided to cast on another Musselburgh hat. And it's really itty bitty right now, but I will show you what I have done. And I did put a picture of this over on my community tab on YouTube, but I have just started the increase rounds. Move this yarn out of the way. And I am loving it. Hopefully it's focusing there. But I'm absolutely loving the colors and the way it's knitting up. So that is my Musselburgh. So really, really like that. Can't wait to get this off the needles. And this is just something that when I have a couple of minutes here and there during the day, I can knit on, because it's just all stockinette at this point. This starts out with a pinhole or circular cast on. I'm gonna tell you, fiddly, very fiddly. I really have a hard time casting this hat on. I've made 2 others, but I love the way it looks after. So if I can just get through that cast on part, and there's lots of YouTube videos out there, then I get started and it just flies off the needles. So that is my Musselburgh. Don't know when I'll get that done. There's no rush, but you know, I hope we have some cooler weather. So, and speaking of hats, I guess I didn't say what I was wearing. This hat is something that I knit when I first started knitting, years ago. I was living in Florida, and was actually knit as a gift, but it was way too big. This was before I really understood yarn and just different weights of yarn. You know, I would go to the big box store, buy some yarn, and I would just start knitting a pattern that I liked, not really understanding that, Lisa, there's a yarn weight, and you know, different yarns behave differently when you knit them up, and the fabric is different. So I just knit this up. This is a bulky weight hat pattern, and this is bulky weight yarn. This is like a Bernat. It's a Bernat alpaca. I want to say it's 100% alpaca, but it just was not the right fabric really for this. The hat's too big for me, but I like it. It's my favorite color. So I don't know if you can see the design on this hat, but it's kind of like a checkered pattern. But the name of the hat is called, it's the Dawn Land Hat by Becky Robbins. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And again, it is a bulky weight hat. But, you know, I just put it, it's cold today here in Colorado. So I put this on, and I've been kind of wearing it around in my office. Sorry if you can hear my heater, because I do have the little heater on in my office. But it's a quick knit too. So if you're looking again for a quick hat pattern, this would be another one that I would recommend, going and getting the pattern for this and just knitting that up. So for my family members, as far as for the boys, I am also going to be knitting some hats, and one of the hat patterns that I will be using is it's a DK weight hat. It's called the Bankhead hat, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. And you can use this, you can use pretty much, I mean, you can do, obviously you can go and get an indie dye DK weight yarn. I am going to be using some Miss Babs. I've got some Miss Babs yarn that I'm going to be using for this pattern. And it's a DK weight. It's her Killington. It's 85% Pullworth yarn, 15% Tussa silk, I guess is what that is. But this is a huge skein, 700 yards. So I am going to be using this for a couple of the Bankhead hats that I'll be knitting up for some of the boys, older boys in my family, because the babies are going to get the Pagadi hat. So that's what I will be using that yarn for. And I also wanted to, I just wanted to point out, because I am going to be making some worsted socks, and I ordered some yarn from Knit Picks for some worsted cabled socks. There's a free pattern on Ravelry. So let me back up. Rambling, Lisa, rambling. Anyways, I purchased a pattern from the, and why did she just slip my mind? Acorn. I'll list it below. Autumn Acorn. I have quite a few of her sock patterns, but she has a cabled worsted cozy sock pattern that I just purchased on Ravelry. And, you know, I'm fortunate enough that I can buy patterns, and I'm able to, you know, I can afford to buy occasionally some of higher end yarns, but I also like to just go and grab some, you know, more of a budget friendly yarn. So I wanted to share with you that there is a pattern on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. It's a Yarnspirations pattern. And I am gonna, because I don't think I wrote it down here. I did not. So let me quickly go and tell you what the pattern is. It's a cozy, I think it's called the Cozy Cabin Socks. And it's a pattern that you can use. Let's see what it's called. Here we are. It is called the Cozy Knit Cabin Socks. Let's see if I can show you. It's a cable sock, and it's a cozy, really cozy pattern. I'll try to pop a picture in maybe. And I'll link to the pattern below as well. But they use a Karen Cake yarn for that, a tweed Karen Cakes. Again, budget friendly. That is going to be 100% acrylic, but if you were looking to knit that up in a budget friendly wool yarn, I would highly recommend this one. This is Lion Brand's yarn. It's Fisherman's Wool. This is a 100% wool. And I've knit things out of this. I love, love, love this yarn. So, and this you can actually buy at Joann's or Michael's probably. I actually, I just purchased, I think, a sweater's quantity. I purchased a sweater's quantity of this. Taylor from Wool Needle Hands just did a quick ramble on budget-friendly yarns, and this was one of the ones that she brought up, was the Lion Brand's Fisherman's Wool. And I had commented that, oh my gosh, I love that wool. And I went and I looked, and at the time, Joann's had a sale, $9.99 a skein for this. It's 100% wool, and this has 465 yards in this ball. They also have some tweedy kind of, it's not a tweed, it's more of just a pattern. It's I want to say they call that barber pooling, but they have some different other, it's a yarn with barber pooling in it. But anyways, those are not 100% wool, but it's like 90% wool, and they're tweeds, I'm sorry, and it's 90% wool, and then it has a little bit 10% of other things in there, I think some nylon. But anyways, those are a little bit smaller of a skein. It's like it's not much, like 348 yards versus the 497, and it's super budget friendly. But again, if you can get that on sale, I mean, imagine how many socks this is going to knit up for me. So I am going to make some socks out of this, but I also am going to make a sweater. And again, I got it at $9.99 a skein. I mean, really? Right now, I think I went to Joann's right before I started filming, and it's $13.99, still very budget friendly because the amount of things that you can get out of this one skein. Super squishy soft, and you know, I'm one that I kind of have sensitive skin, but this I can wear against my skin, not a problem. And I do know that as you wash it, it softens up even more. So again, if you wanted to make something for maybe a younger child, or I would feel confident in doing that. But love, love, love this Lion's Brand yarn. So check it out. Another pattern that I am going to make some hats with for Christmas knitting is the beanie hat, and I will try to pop a picture in up there. But it's a simple hat. This is also a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's a DK and a mohair. That's why I really, really like that. So it's it's a DK hat. You pair a fingering and a mohair together, and oh my goodness, the pictures on Ravelry are just so nice, and it looks so soft. So I am definitely going to knit this up for a gift for somebody, and I'm probably going to make one for myself. But it's called the Beanie Hat, and it is also a free pattern over on Ravelry. So, and I think that is kind of it for patterns, and I just wanted to, well, here's one that would also probably knit up very quickly. This I think is also worsted weight. Just trying to see here what it says about yeah, it's a worsted weight yarn, and it's called the 2x2. Basically, it's a 2x2 ribbed hat. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I think that I will probably, I will make one of these up, and I'll probably use that Lion Brand yarn. I have a Tweety one. It's a cream and a brown swirl that's kind of in it. And I think I'm going to make this hat in that. And then I'm also going to make the socks by the Autumn Acorn in that Lion Brand's Fisherman Wool as well. And then I have a Knit Picks worsted weight that I'm going to use. So, and I'm sorry, because I did start talking about when I was talking about socks, and I got off on the yarn inspirations. The pattern that I'm going to be using, I'm probably going to make one of the yarn inspirations, but I'm also going to make it's a cabled sock by the Autumn Acorn. I think hers is called the cabin cozy or cabin comfort sock. Really pretty cable pattern. And I'll try and pop a picture in, but I'll link it below if not. And I'm going to... Okay, sorry about that. My card said it was full. I don't know why. I think I've said that. I don't know why it does that, but it said it was full. So I'm back. And now I'm going to kind of go into some... Well, before I go into acquisitions, we had a winner from our last podcast. And I actually will insert the video of me picking the winner. I use a random generator picker that lets me drill down to a word or a comment. And so I did pick a winner for the skein of yarn that I'm giving away. And on my community tab, I listed what that skein of yarn looked like, but I will show you. And I'm sorry about this chair. Ugh, I'm gonna have to get another chair. But I am gifting this skein of Knit Crate yarn. It's called Peachy Queen. And it's I think they pronounce this Uru yarn. It's a lovely peach with some pinks and yellow speckles kind of in it. And it has, I don't know if you can tell, but it has a little bit of bling stellina in it. So it's got some stellina. And the winner of this is Peggy Bork. So here's the thing about Peggy. Peggy and I go back to last holiday season where we were paired up. We both watch Carla Knits over, she's also here on YouTube and has a podcast, a really lovely podcast. And last year she did a 12 mini skein swap for Advents. So, you know, a lot of us do the whole Advent thing, and I've purchased some Advents as well, but they can get to be pretty pricey. So again, this is a season that we're just all trying to have fun. It's nice to receive other yarns that maybe you haven't purchased that somebody has. They made socks and they have quite a bit of leftovers. So Carla has started to do a swap, and she pairs people up. So you send her a message on Ravelry. She pairs you up with someone in October, I think she did it. And then you get your, and obviously you can use random 10-gram minis that you have around, but you can also wind up just leftovers that you have from maybe a full skein into 10-gram minis. And you can either wind them into a ball, skein them up into a little mini, and you know, you can decide to do little extras. You can just do the minis, whatever you and your partner decide, and then you swap that. And you can either do it the last 12 days, the first 12 days. I'm sure some people open them up right away, and that's okay too. Whatever you and your swap buddy, you know, agree to. Anyways, where was I going with that? Peggy and I were paired up last year, and we have become, you know, very friendly. We, you know, share patterns. We, and when I say that, we, you know, share pattern ideas. She gifted me a pattern actually last year, along with my 12 skein minis that she gave me, which I absolutely loved. Once I got some going into my scrappy blanket. We see each other. We watch a lot of the same podcasts. We are friends over on Instagram. So we have just kind of started to form a bond. So she won the skein of yarn. So that was super exciting to see that name come up. And then I was paired up this year again, because I'm doing it again this year. And I hope Carla continues to do this because it's a lot of fun. And so she paired me up with someone this year. Hi, Claudia, if you're watching. And we have started to have a knit chat. So every other Thursday, we do a call over WhatsApp, and we are having a knit chat. And we're really enjoying it. You know, I'm getting to know more about her. She's getting to know more about me. But we can knit together because a lot of us have family members that don't knit. And we want to be able to share our knitting experiences and share pattern ideas and ask questions. And it's just a good way to get to see somebody, get to know them, and have that personal through our knit chats. So again, we are really loving it. And I would just put out there, if there's anybody that would like to join a knit chat, be part of a knit chat, I would love to start something like that. Comment below, and I would be happy to have a every other week, a once a month, or some sort of knit chat where we can get together and just chat with each other, share what we're working on, share ideas, share hacks, share, knit ideas, whatever it is. But comment below about that. And let's see what kind of enthusiasm we have about it. And if it's something that everyone's looking forward to maybe doing, we'll have a little knit group. So, and I know there's a lot of virtual knit groups out there, but I'm starting to form this little small community, which I'm loving, and would love to be able to chat with some of you in face-to-face, so to speak. So let me know below. Okay. So I think we are on to some acquisitions. So who is doing Sockmas? I'm taking part in Sockmas, which is a cowl that Nitty Natty puts on every year, or she has for the last couple of years that I've been involved in. Kind of like her Sock Week, which is a play on words with Shark Week. She has Sockmas. So last year I took part in Sockmas, and she always has some sponsors that do yarn and bags. Last year, I think it was Stitching Plaza did the bag, and she had 2 dyers, but the one I got yarn from was Ruby and Roses. Love her yarn. I think she still has some Advents left, and I think I'm gonna buy one. But anyways, this year, Mandy's Makings was the yarn supplier, and Courtney of White Rose, I think it's White Rose Fiber. I want to make sure I get it right. White Rose Fiber Company is the sponsor of the bags. I've been ordering bags from Courtney, so I'm very familiar with her bags. They're very well made, and I got a bag, and I got both yarns that Amanda of Mandy's Makings dyed up for Sockmas. So here is the bag, and I got the small sock pouch. Love this pattern, and it's enough to put your skein of sock yarn in, and of course your sock and needles. And then here's the inside. It has a little print on there of snowflakes in red and green. Sorry, I know I'm not doing a very good job of showing that to you, but that's that. And then she put a little zipper. It's a little stocking. So very cute. So I got that, and then I received the yarn from Mandy's Making, and this one is called Handmade Ornament. Beautiful pink with a green mini. And I think a couple podcasts back, I was knitting up a pair of socks. Haven't finished them, but I was knitting up a pair of socks it was like peppermint bark, and it didn't come with a mini, but I added a green contrast to the heel. And I shared that my daughter was very concerned because it was pink and green. So my mother and sister were in a sorority, and they're red and white. So she was very concerned that I was knitting up pink and green. Sorry, my neighbor was walking by. Pink and green socks. Well, this is truly, I told her it was red because it was peppermint, but this is truly pink and green. So I may have to use a different contrast for heels, toes, and cuffs if I use that, just so that we don't have the pink and green going on. But love the color. Anyways, Amanda. And then I also got she dyed up 2 different yarns, and this one is called Snow Globe. Beautiful. It's got different darker greens and some blue speckles and a little bit of red, and a little bit of brown, and then it has the red mini. So this one will definitely be fine to knit up with the mini. So super excited to start Sockmas, and that starts I want to say it's the Friday after Thanksgiving. I think it's the Friday after Thanksgiving it starts up. But you've got plenty of time. Go over and check out Nitty Natty, and she has all the information linked in her her last podcast, and I think she has a separate podcast for it. But if you put in sock mist, it'll come up, and you can get all the info for that. You don't have to use the yarn from one of the sponsors or have to have the bag, but it's just a fun time, again, just to kind of get together and knit with other folks. And you know, she'll put a hashtag, I believe, over on Instagram, and then I'm pretty sure there's something on Ravelry as well, but check that out. So those acquisitions. I guess we're in acquisitions. Should have said that. So my next acquisition is something that I ordered some yarn from Legacy Fiber Arts, and I'm going to probably make, this is going to be also a gift knit, is the Sophie Scarf by Petite Knits. So I ordered these two yarns from Legacy Fiber Arts. This is a Surrey alpaca in their vanilla, I think it's vanilla bean. I'm pretty sure this is vanilla bean. It is vanilla bean. But it's their Surrey alpaca cloud. It's 74% baby Surrey alpaca, 20% mulberry silk. And I'm going to pair this with Old Cider Mill. And this might have been a colorway that they made up for Sheep and Wool Rhinebeck. I'm not positive, but I know it's fairly new to the shop, and I'm pretty sure that's what it was for. Love that color. Absolutely love it. So I'm looking forward to getting this on the needles. I also think that I'm going to do the mohair ascot that Christy Archer, I test knit for her. It's in a couple of podcasts ago. You'll see that. And I'm thinking I'll put one of those on the needles with this yarn as well. And that may be what I put on the needles. I may do the Sophie Scarf and something else. And of course they have a larger, it's called the Sophie Wrap maybe now from Petite Knits. And I'm thinking about putting that on the needles at some point. It won't be for a holiday knit. But these, the mohair ascot that Christy Archer designed knits up super quick, super duper quick. So this would be a fun one to put on the needles. And I did get my, I guess I will. I'll share my knit crate. And I don't think I shared this in the last. Maybe I did share this in my last podcast. I think I did share it in my last podcast. But if I didn't, this is my knit crate, my monthly knit crate. Love those colors. And then I also got my, how could I forget? I got some more, I got mohair and, you know what, I shared this. I shared this in my last one. So it was my Chelsea Luxe. But I did share this color, and that's going to also be for a mohair ascot by Christy Archer. So I did share that one. So I think that is probably it for everything. So I really didn't have a lot, but I feel like I have rambled on, and sorry, I was a little bit all over the place today. So sorry about that. But again, I'm hoping to film one more time before Thanksgiving. I am going to be going to, I'm probably going to be able to see family this Thanksgiving, so I'm super excited about that. It's been a while, and I know I'll get to see my son and his girlfriend, so again, really excited. Anytime I get to spend time with my son and his girlfriend is always super exciting. I know that I'll see my stepdaughter as well. And other life stuff, I'm really busy at work. For those of you that don't know, I also, my full-time job, I work for a major airline, and we are very, very busy. And then I've got end of the year reviews to do and all kinds of stuff. So all that's happening, and I'm trying to keep up with all of that. And I think that's probably it for life stuff and chatter. I am getting back into an exercise routine, so I'm excited about that, and I'm walking each morning, and that's bringing me lots of joy. And I added, this is actually, I've had this for a little bit, but I haven't shown it, but that little baby up there is a little antique sewing machine that I purchased that I just fell in love with. And I kind of bought it because it's twofold. I am hoping to start the year off with sewing some garments. So I really, really want to have a totally handmade wardrobe at some point where I walk out of the house and other than the shoes on my feet, everything's handmade. Well, and I won't be hand making my undergarments, but I want to have on handmade socks, a handmade sweater, and I want to have on some handmade pants. And what I'm hoping is, I have a couple of patterns, and I can sew a little bit. I'm not my mom was a sewist. I mean, she made, there's 7 of us, and she made all of our clothes. Probably at the time we didn't love it, but I really, really today I can say I appreciate some of the things that my mother did sew for us, and she did make my wedding dress. So anyways, I want to become a better sewer, and I want to start making some garments. Actually, my husband he's eager for me, like he'll say, well, do you think you can make a shirt? Well, do you think you can? I'm like, well, of course I can do that. Nope. Anyways, I'm going to learn though, just like I taught myself to knit, I am going to really focus on sewing some garments, and I am going to start to sew garments. So right now my goal is I want to make a pair of wool pants, black and gray, basic staples in your wardrobe. I'm envisioning wide leg pants with side pockets, with a nice classic sweater, either a espace tricot or a petite knit, just mohair type sweater, and some high-heeled Chelsea boots. And when I say high-heeled, like a 2-inch heeled Chelsea boot. And that to me is just, whew, love it, classic. And I can't find wool pants that I love to buy off the rack, and so I want to make some. So if any of you know a really good wool pant pattern, easy wool pant pattern, please link it below. And if there's any types of videos that will, YouTube that I can go to that will help me as far as cutting out a pattern, tricks in sewing that type of a garment up with material, please, again, link that below, and we'll just see where this goes. But I want to be able to walk out with a handmade wardrobe. So we shall see. I've made a skirt before. I attempted years ago. My daughter's well into her 30s, and I years ago attempted to make a pair of pants for her. One leg was longer than the other. They were comical, but I attempted. Now the skirt that I made for me was when we were living in Florida, and I did wear that. So I have made a garment, but I've sewn a garment before, so I can sew. I'm just not great. I can sew certain things, and again, I can probably cut out a pattern, but as far as all the different lingo and acronyms that are there for sewing, I'm not super familiar with. I could probably sit with my mom and she could show me some things, but I don't know that she would have the patience for me because I'm all over the map, I guess, kind of. But I would really like to, I would like to attempt to really sew in a serious manner some garments. So again, link what you have below, and any suggestions, any patterns maybe that you've sewn that you really like that, might be a staple in a wardrobe, let me know. So until next time, happy knitting. So I'm trying on my After the Rain, and I'm really liking the way it fits so far. Not really sure how to do this in this mirror. Let's see if that works better. But I love the fit so far. Obviously I have a long way to go. So, but it's coming along. So sorry, my bedroom is messy today. But really, really like this. So first time I've used the barber cords to try on a sweater. And I was super nervous at first that the stitches were going to fall off, but they didn't. So loving the fit. So what do you think? Can't wait to get this off the needles. Sorry, someone's texting me. I just wanted to pop this in at the end. I received this today after I did my initial recording. And this is a bag from Amy of Noble Character Crafts. Amy, I absolutely love this bag. I love the handwritten note and card. Amy puts so much detail into the things that she makes, and I know that as she's making something for somebody, she is also praying for them at that same time, which is huge to me to know that she's doing that. I really enjoy her bags, and I love supporting her. Once again, thank you, Amy. Really love my bag.